Hello, everybody. Aaron from the Ballpit here, back with another episode of the Writer's Block, which is a show where I talk about whatever creative topic that titillates my interest at a given moment, essentially. And today, the topic that I would like to cover is the leaks or whatever the rumors about the new Assassin's Creed game following Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I'm actually currently playing on the channel. You can check out that playthrough if you want to. It's fun. It's a good game. Afterwards is supposed to be a game based in Japan, where the main character is a black samurai, the first black samurai. And, par for the course, this angers certain people, as we see that this individual, learning the law, manga lawyer, said Ubisoft. Game set in Italy, plays Italian man. Game set in France, plays Frenchman. Game set in America, plays Native American man. Game set in Greece, plays Greek man. Game set in Norway, plays Norseman. Game set in Japan. And then they're saying that part out loud, and it shows, it's playing as a black man. Either it's, they're assuming that it is, like, anti-Asian discrimination, or like wokeism, I guess, is the term, or both. And I'd like to kind of chime in on my own, with my own opinion on this. So, first of all, for the game set in America, that would be Assassin's Creed 3. In the beginning, before you play as the Native American man, you play as a British man. So, you're directly playing as a colonizer in this sense. I'm pretty sure in Black Flag you play as a white man too, right? Main character of Black Flag, which would be, you're playing as a white man in the Caribbean. Yeah, he's a Welsh privateer. So you're in the Caribbean, and you're playing as a white Welshman, which, instead of playing as, somebody that's native to the Caribbean, probably in that case it should have been a black man, because, that's the population of the Caribbean. So there's that instance. And then in the game set in Norway, which is referring to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, play as Norseman, except the game's not fucking set in Norway. The game's set in England, and you play as a Norseman. So, depending on the historical events that are happening is what determines the ethnicity, if you will, of the person that you're playing as. Like, in Black Flag, you play as a Welsh privateer instead of playing as a Caribbean, just due to the historical events. In that age of piracy, that's the demographics that were there. It was white people. It was the British, the Dutch, the French, and the Spanish that were in the Caribbean and making a bunch of money off of that. And, nobody got upset that it wasn't somebody, that's ethnically native to the Caribbean, or even just ethnically in the Caribbean in the modern day, or even back then. It's just based on what the historical events of the moment were. And for this game, it's based on an actual historical event. Was that Yasuke, who's a black slave who rose above all the odds to the rank of samurai in Japan. It is not a fairy tale. This tale of pure heroics and bravery is a real-life story. So they're getting mad that in a Ubisoft game, in the Assassin's Creed franchise, which has always heavily been based on real history, is trying to actually be true to history. So let me actually get the Wikipedia page up. All right, I got my face down really small. I'm watching basketball over here, so that's why that tab's open. So here we actually have the tab open for this. Was a man, likely of African origin, who started as a servant and retainer to the Japanese in this time frame. He was retained until his death. He's from Mozambique, the Republic of Mozambique, which is in Southeast Africa. Despite myth and popular, no historical writings or evidence that he was granted the rank or title of samurai. He's never given a fief. But he did rise from servant to be. So look at this, yeah. Took a great liking to him and made him retainer at his side, and so he became somebody that was involved in Japan at the time. He saw combat. He saw all sorts of stuff. So this is a real historical thing. So even though he didn't exactly become a title of samurai, because that meant a lot more than just combat based. That means that's like culturally based. You own land and stuff like that. So that never happened. He still was an important member in his time in Japanese society and saw combat. And not for nothing, I think that Assassin's Creed can, especially with playing Mirage right now. Again, you can go watch my playthrough now. The story's really, really good. And I actually think that Ubisoft, at this point in its development career, can make a really interesting and unique game based on this character. And, the argument could be, why don't you just make it in a different time period and use a ethnically Japanese person? I'm also pretty sure Ubisoft has made open world samurai game, if I'm not mistaken, and it might not be Ubisoft, but it definitely is a game that exists. And at the end of the day, in Ubisoft, they're trying to tell interesting and good stories. We're talking about a franchise, Assassin's Creed, where the humans are. Like in Valhalla, you play as Eivor, who is basically possessed by the spirit of Odin, who is a fucking extraterrestrial alien god that's trying to live forever and prevent doomsday, right? You're playing a game in which you as a person can step into a computer and play and live a simulation of your past lives. This is not based on fucking reality. And if Ubisoft wants to make a game about a real historical figure, which, most Ubisoft games, you don't play as a real historical figure. Obviously, because you're a video game character. You meet a lot of them, you don't play as one. This is one of the first ones where you actually play as a real fucking person. Or at least, maybe you don't directly play as this person, but it's, you play as a character that is based on this person. Why? How can you be upset about a real historical event? It's not woke if it fucking happened in history. It's something that literally occurred. I don't understand how that can be woke or whatever else. They're literally making a game about a real life event. That'd be like getting mad about fucking, Killers of the Flower Moon, for for making a movie where some of the characters are white. It's like, no, they're telling a real historical event. This is a real event that happened, and white people were involved in it. So you're going to cast white people, right? In this, they're talking about this real historical period of events. This black guy was involved in them. So why would the black guy be played by a Japanese guy, or be graphically designed as a Japanese guy when it could just be designed as a black guy and be historically accurate? I understand why people don't want things to be historically accurate. That's just my little tired rant. I'm honestly exhausted. I'm running on fumes. So, maybe that wasn't the most intellectual way for me to explain my points of this. But you know what? I don't really care. I said what I wanted to say. Have it that. I'm going to go back to watching basketball. I'm a Timberwolves fan. They're not playing tonight, which is good because the last couple games have made me very sad. But, I can watch the other games that are going on right now. What game is actually going on now? I think it might be Cavs Celtics, and then after it is Mavs Thunder. Whatever. You guys don't care about basketball. You guys care about Ubisoft games. So I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Ballpit. This episode of the Ballpit. This episode of the Writer's Block from the Ballpit. I hope you check out more. I also hope you check out Assassin's Creed Mirage, because I've been mentioning Assassin's Creed games this whole time. All right. Goodbye now. Have a great rest of your day.